So I was just having this thought as I was doing my journaling about how whether it's a part of us or many of us or however it works, I think a lot of us are, and including myself at times, are wondering, okay, so I'm on my spiritual path, I'm doing the thing. So but what do I actually do in order to awaken or in order to heal or in order to accept the atonement or in order to forgive or any of these things that are basically what it comes down to is choosing love instead of fear. What do I actually do to do that? And the truth is there's nothing you do because as we're probably pretty familiar with, when we're doing something, that's the issue, is that we are doing something and doing something in content, not just in the form, but in the actual content of what doing something means is resistance. And so if we're resisting, then that's going to keep us from experiencing heaven, experiencing awakening, experiencing the love and peace that we truly are at its truth. And so I was journaling, and I think a helpful way to understand it is it would be like asking, how do I pee? When what it really comes down to is just stop holding your pee and then it will come out. That's like when we're teaching our children how to pee, it's not that we're teaching them how to pee, we're teaching them how to let go of the resistance to peeing that they've learned from whatever it might be. Although I recognize that perhaps when they're babies in a diaper, it just comes out easily. So another example of how being really like a baby and really young is actually a good teaching example for us. If someone is saying, okay, so what do I need to do to breathe? How do I breathe? And the most obvious thing that any human would say is just stop holding your breath. So in other words, the content of that, like not just the form, but the actual content, the what we're saying there is stop resisting, cease your resistance to that which we are attempting to allow, basically. So, how do I breathe? Stop holding your breath. How do I pee? Stop holding your pee in. How do I awaken? Stop holding yourself back from the awakening. That's inevitable. Of course, the situation there is that it's much more subtle and much more it's non-physical in a sense, and so there are many different mechanisms at play that are contributing to the resistance to peace, if we want to just call it peace or heaven or love. And so it appears, especially to our physical bodies and forms and senses, that there's no way to do this. But we know that there are ways to let go of resistance and experience peace. When we forgive someone for something or forgive a situation for something or let go of a harmful story or um, allow ourselves to go to sleep. When we fall asleep, it's not like peeing or breathing where we are conscious, fully conscious of the physical change. It just kind of happens. And then all of a sudden, we find ourselves in a dream or we find ourselves waking up the next day or waking up to pee or whatever. So there's definitely room to accept the mystery that's there, the ineffability that's there. Um, but if nothing else, just trust that this is happening. Trust that it's happening because the part of you that is resisting it is not trusting that it's happening. And so, in a way, it's like asking, when is this going to happen? How is this going to happen? How do I do this? Are all additional forms of resistance to the awakening love, peace, whatever you want to call it, itself. So, maybe the best answer to the question is stop asking that question.